Research shows that older men miss 97% of female approach signals. The question isn't random. It's a precisely engineered psychological test. And the moment you answer it the wrong way, she's already gone. What no one tells you about aging as a man is that something shifts between the ages of 35 and 50. You stop searching for signs. You stop believing that younger women view you as a sexual being. Conditioned by a culture that idolizes youth, you've been led to believe that your value expired with your 20s. So when a 24-year-old woman asks you an innocent-sounding question at a coffee shop, you don't register it. You respond like a colleague, like a mentor, like someone who's been benched by time. And she walks away, not because you're older, but because you failed to understand what she was really asking. And this matters, because attraction doesn't retire at 40. In fact, when developed properly, male sexual market value peaks much later than you've been told. Experience becomes currency, stability becomes magnetic, emotional composure becomes rare and thus desirable, but only if you can speak the language. Only if you understand that women do not approach men the way men approach women. They don't announce attraction. They test. They ask questions that sound casual, but operate like psychological auditions. And the men who can decipher the code, who hear the meaning beneath the words, live in a different world than those who can't. They see doorways where others see chit-chat. They build tension where others build platonic comfort. They continue to live as sexual beings long after their peers have resigned themselves to invisibility. This isn't about manipulation. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that when a woman asks you a specific type of question, she's not collecting data. She's creating a window for you to demonstrate something she can't directly request. Behavioral psychology has a term for this: covert signaling. Humans, especially women, in the realm of romantic selection, communicate interest through indirect channels to minimize the social cost of rejection. A direct approach is risky. If she tells you she finds you attractive and you don't respond favorably, she suffers a visible failure. So evolution, being elegantly brutal, crafted a better system, a method of plausible deniability. She asks a question that appears neutral. If you respond with presence and understanding, the interaction escalates. If you miss it, she backs away, never having exposed herself. Technically, she never flirted. She just asked a question. Evolutionary psychology studies confirm that women use covert strategies up to 80% more frequently than men when initiating romantic contact. Why? Because across human history, women who preserved their reputation while still securing high-value partners had better survival outcomes. Open displays of sexuality were punished. Covert expressions offered safety and opportunity. So the behavior became instinct. It continues today, even when the original dangers no longer exist. The question she asks isn't really about the words. It's about how you respond to ambiguity. It's about whether you can maintain frame in an undefined space, whether you can detect subtext, whether you still see yourself as someone desirable. Most older men fail this immediately, not due to a lack of intelligence, but because they've swallowed a story about age and worth that blinds them to what's in front of them. They believe the Disney version. They think women value safety, friendship, and emotional connection above all else. And while those things absolutely matter, they matter second. First, she has to feel something. Tension, curiosity, the sense that you don't belong in the same category as the others she passes by each day. That all begins with how you interpret her question. Picture this. You're in a bookstore. It's a midweek afternoon. You're thumbing through the philosophy section, holding a weathered copy of Meditations. A woman approaches. Mid-20s, confident posture. She's holding a book on Stoicism. She doesn't ask, "What are you reading?" She asks, "Do you actually live by this stuff? Or is it just intellectual?" Most men hear that and assume it's a discussion about philosophy. So they answer philosophically. They break down Stoic thought. They quote Marcus Aurelius. They give a lecture she didn't request. She nods politely, thanks him, and walks away. He thinks it was a friendly talk about books. He doesn't realize what just happened, but what she actually asked was, "Are you a man with inner structure or just a performer?" She asked, "Do you possess emotional sovereignty or are you hiding behind concepts?" She asked, "Are you intriguing enough for me to want to keep talking?" And by responding at face value, he failed the test. Because the right answer was never about stoicism. It was about showing her you knew that she wasn't really asking about stoicism. This is the pattern older men miss. Women don't ask for information when they're attracted. They ask relationship questions disguised as informational ones. And that disguise is not accidental. It filters. It selects for men who can see the layer beneath, men who can maintain tension, men who won't rush to dissolve discomfort with answers. Let's break it down further. The kind of question she asks typically falls into one of 4 types. Each type tests something specific. Type 1, the lifestyle probe. Do you come here often? Do you usually read in cafes? Is this your usual spot? On the surface, it's about your routine. In reality, she's asking if you're a man with rhythm, but not rigidity. Are you grounded yet not stale? Do you have a life she can enter without being consumed by it? Type 2, the identity challenge. Do you actually believe that? Are you really into this or just curious? Is this something you take seriously? It appears like she's questioning your interest in a topic, but beneath the surface, she's testing your solidity. Do you defend yourself? Do you stay centered? Do you need her approval, or do you already possess certainty from within? Type 3, the ambiguity test. What are you doing after this? Are you free tonight? Got plans later? Ostensibly, she's asking about your schedule. Really, she's handing you a chance to escalate. She wants to know if you'll seize the moment or drown in hesitation. Type 4, the experience filter. Have you always been like this? Were you different when you were younger? Do you think people change? Superficially, it's a conversation about your past. In truth, she's observing whether you've made peace with who you've become. Do you wear your age with dignity or with apology? And in every one of these scenarios, the worst possible answer is the literal one. The literal answer kills tension. It gives her certainty. And certainty, especially early on, smothers attraction. She doesn't actually care about your schedule. She wants to feel a flicker of possibility. She doesn't need your backstory. She wants the mystery of wondering what shaped you. She doesn't need her question validated. She wants to feel the ground shift between you two. And that only happens when you answer the question she's really asking. So how do you respond? Not with a script, not with a pickup line, with a shift in frame. You reply in a way that acknowledges the subtext without explicitly calling it out. Back to the bookstore. She asks, "Do you actually live by this stuff, or is it just intellectual?" What most men say. "Yeah, I try to apply Stoic principles daily. It's really helped me handle stress better." Logical, honest, connection-oriented, and completely unattractive. What a man who gets it says, "If I said I did, you'd think I was posing. If I said I didn't, you'd wonder why I'm reading it." Slight smile. "So I'll let you decide." He didn't answer her question. He reframed it into tension. He made her curious. He showed he wasn't performing for her approval. And most importantly, he demonstrated that he knew she was testing him. That's the difference. The man who answers literally is trying to be liked. The man who answers with tension is comfortable being evaluated. And women are drawn to men who are comfortable being evaluated because it signals something crucial. This is a man who has already been tested before. He has stood in judgment. He has survived rejection. He has history. This is where older men possess a structural advantage they rarely recognize. Younger men have to manufacture this posture. They pretend to be unaffected. They fake abundance. They act unimpressed. But you don't need to pretend. You've lived long enough to know that attraction comes and goes. You've been rejected and kept breathing. You've had relationships collapse and rebuilt yourself afterward. You've watched desire rise, fade, return, and transform. You've learned through lived experience that desperation repels and composure attracts. Yet most older men abandon this hard-earned wisdom the moment a younger woman enters the picture. They revert to scarcity. They think this might be their last chance. They believe they need to appear harmless, agreeable, grateful. They feel they should apologize internally for even being noticed, and that internal posture leaks outward. It shows up in the speed of their replies, in their excessive explanations, in their softened eye contact, in their nervous eagerness to be understood. She senses it instantly, not as a conscious analysis, but as a gut reaction. And instinct whispers that this man does not believe in his own value. So she disengages, not dramatically, not cruelly. She simply steps away. But the man who has internalized his worth behaves differently. The man who understands that age, when carried correctly, is leverage, not liability. Doesn't rush to put her at ease. He doesn't rush to fill silence. He doesn't over-explain. He creates space. And within that space, she experiences something she rarely encounters with men her age. Calm, grounded certainty. The feeling that she is not being chased, but assessed. That the outcome is not assumed, and paradoxically, that shift often makes her lean in. When a man isn't trying to win her, she becomes curious about winning him. This is the moment where most men lose control. She asks a question. He answers in a way that creates tension. Then comes the pause, the silence, the moment where uncertainty hangs in the air. Most men panic here. They rush to dissolve the discomfort. They add more words, more context, more friendliness, more reassurance, and the moment collapses because silence is the testing ground. Silence reveals whether you are comfortable with discomfort, whether you can hold tension without needing to resolve it, whether you understand that what exists between words often matters more than the words themselves. Younger men struggle here. They are too hungry to be liked, too afraid that if they stop performing, interest will evaporate. They believe momentum must be maintained through constant output. But you are not young. You've sat through uncomfortable silences that didn't kill you. You've learned that the first person to rush in with words often forfeits frame. You've learned that attraction grows in the space where certainty dissolves. So when she asks her question, and you respond in a way that creates tension, and the silence arrives, you hold it. You don't smile nervously. You don't rescue the moment with another question. You don't soften the edges. You allow the pause to exist. You observe. If she is genuinely interested, she will step forward. Another question, another test, another attempt to re-engage. If she isn't, she will exit gracefully. Either way, you maintain your value. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't apologize for occupying space. You simply exist as a man who knows his worth. Look again at how this plays out across the 4 question types. When she probes your lifestyle and asks if you come here often, the wrong response is certainty. Every Tuesday, it's my favorite place. Predictable. Closed. The right response leaves room. Often enough to recognize familiar faces, not often enough to belong to the place. It suggests structure without stagnation, presence without routine fatigue. When she challenges your identity and asks if you really believe in something, the wrong response is justification. Absolutely. I've studied this for years. The right response is grounded in difference. I believe in it enough to live by it. Whether that convinces you isn't really my concern. It communicates inner certainty without defensiveness. When she tests ambiguity and asks what you're doing later, the wrong answer collapses possibility. Nothing much, probably heading home. The right answer preserves tension. That depends on what happens in the next few minutes. It keeps the door open without chasing. When she filters for experience and asks if you've always been this way, the wrong answer apologizes for the past. I used to be anxious. The right answer integrates it. I've been worse. I've been better. Right now, I'm here. It signals acceptance instead of regret. Notice the pattern. None of these answers aim to impress. None seek validation. Each one creates more curiosity than clarity. Each one demonstrates comfort with ambiguity. Each one positions the interaction as mutual exploration, not a performance for approval, and that is the deeper point. This has never been about attracting younger women specifically. It's about refusing to fade into invisibility. Society quietly pressures older men to step aside, to become advisors, mentors, background figures, to accept that romance and sexuality belong to a younger phase of life. And many comply, not because attraction disappears, but because belief does. They stop seeing themselves as desirable. They stop recognizing openings. They stop noticing when a woman creates space for something more. And slowly, they retreat into quiet resignation. But you don't have to. The question she asks is not random. It is an invitation disguised as curiosity. And the moment you recognize it as such, the dynamic changes completely. You are no longer an older man trying to remain relevant. You are a man who understands something younger men haven't yet learned. That attraction is built on tension, not comfort. On mystery, not transparency. On internal certainty, not external validation. And that understanding doesn't expire, it matures. So the next time a woman asks you a question that seems harmless, pause. Don't rush to answer. Don't rush to clarify. Don't rush to be understood. Ask yourself what is really being tested. And respond to that. Not with cleverness, not with lines, but with the quiet confidence of someone who has nothing to prove. Because that is precisely what she is looking for. Not your resume, not your explanations, not your eagerness. She is looking for your ability to hold frame when uncertainty appears. Your ability to remain present without apology. Your ability to embody desire without asking permission. Age, when carried with dignity, is not a disadvantage. It is a filter. It separates women who seek comfort from those who seek depth. And the women who seek depth are still asking the question. You simply have to recognize what they are truly asking. Most older men don't realize that when she asks, "Do you actually live by this stuff?" she's not inquiring about Stoic philosophy. She's asking if you still live like a man who believes he has something to offer. She's looking for signs of vitality, of presence, of lived conviction, not for a lecture on ancient texts. And your answer doesn't just inform her, it defines the frame. It determines whether she leans in further or quietly steps away in search of someone who gets it. This is the split in perception that creates two entirely different realities. In one, men age into irrelevance, responding to flirtation as though it were bureaucracy, clear, direct, rational. In the other, men age into depth, responding to relational nuance as a dance, silent, charged, and full of invitation. One leads to invisibility, the other leads to tension. And tension is where attraction lives. It's why she doesn't want the literal answer. It's why she doesn't want your schedule, your past, your credentials. She wants the mystery. She wants the gap between words. She wants the awareness that you know what's really happening, and the restraint to not overexpose it. That's the art. And that's what most men, especially those over 40, forget. Because they've been convinced that age must come with apology. that every wrinkle is a reason to shrink, that every grey hair is a cue to get out of the way. But confidence that has endured storms, real storms, is a force most women under 30 rarely encounter. And when it appears, it cuts through the noise. But it only appears when you stop performing, when you stop trying to win, when you stop explaining, when you stop rushing to say the right thing, when you trust that your lived experience is already enough. That's when your presence changes. That's when your words carry weight. That's when your pauses speak louder than your paragraphs. And that's when her test becomes something else entirely. Because if she's one of the few who seeks depth, who longs for resonance rather than reassurance, then your refusal to entertain the superficial becomes magnetic. She doesn't want perfection. She wants authenticity. She wants to know you're not faking certainty to get her attention. She wants to know that the man sitting across from her has been shaped, broken, rebuilt, and emerged sharper, not softer. The man who can hold a stare. The man who doesn't interrupt silence. The man who doesn't panic when interest isn't instantly confirmed. And this is where silence becomes the most powerful tool in your arsenal. Because when she asks a question designed to test your frame, your ability to let the question breathe becomes the signal. You don't rush to please. You don't fall into the trap of rapid-fire charm. You allow the energy to stretch. You let her feel the edge of uncertainty, and you show her that you're not afraid of it, that you live there. Most men never make it that far. They rush in. They fill the moment. They try to be liked. And that instinct kills the attraction before it ever has a chance to grow. Because attraction, especially in the early stages, doesn't survive in clarity. It needs mystery. It needs room. It needs the unknown. So when she tests you, when she drops the question disguised as casual interest, answer with calibration, not precision. Let your response create more questions than it resolves. Let it make her wonder. Let it feel like something is happening just beneath the surface, something she can sense but not quite define. That is what keeps her engaged. That is what separates you from every man who explains too much, tries too hard, gives away too quickly. This isn't about arrogance. It's about restraint. It's about holding your value as something she discovers, not something you announce. It's about letting the interaction unfold instead of trying to control its direction. Because the moment you try to steer her perception, she knows you're not grounded. The moment you rush to define yourself, she knows you doubt your worth. But when you remain still, composed, responsive without being reactive, she feels something far rarer. A man who isn't chasing her validation. A man who is evaluating hers. And here's the secret most don't hear until it's too late. Women don't fall for the man who tries to win them. They fall for the man who mirrors their depth, who sees through their questions without humiliating their method, who speaks to the part of them that wants to feel rather than be told. That part doesn't care about how much you know. It doesn't care how long you've been single or what you've accomplished. It cares whether you still move through the world like a man who has something to offer, and whether you require nothing from her to prove it. That's the unspoken test. And you pass it not by being perfect, but by being real. By being silent when silence is right. By answering indirectly when directness would kill the tension. By letting her earn your attention instead of handing it over as a gift she never asked for. You do this by trusting yourself, by remembering that your value isn't a memory of youth, it's the refinement of years. You're not here to convince her. You're here to see her, to see if her curiosity runs deeper than the average, to see if she's playing games or genuinely exploring connection. And when you live in that place, observant, clear, unattached to outcome, everything shifts. Because at that point, she's not testing you to decide if she wants you. She's testing to see if she can keep up, if she can earn your attention, if she can step into the space you've made without losing herself. And when that happens, attraction is no longer performance. It becomes invitation. Mutual. Voluntary. Real. This isn't about dating tricks or clever lines, it's about frame. It's about understanding what most men miss and living like you've remembered it. That a woman's interest is rarely obvious, but always present if you know where to look. That her questions aren't requests for answers. They're signals, invitations, echoes of vulnerability disguised as curiosity. And your job is not to decode them like puzzles. It's to meet them like mirrors, to show her that you see the real message without ever mocking the mask it wears, that you hear her testing and you're not offended, that you feel the tension and you don't fear it, that you sense the pull and you let it linger, because that's what builds the kind of attraction that doesn't fade with youth. It deepens with experience, it sharpens with awareness. It grows in the quiet spaces between performance and presence. And that's where you live now. Not chasing, not pleasing, just being. Calm, certain, whole. And when she asks the question, any question, you already know what she's really saying. Are you still a man who knows his worth? And with your silence, your frame, your presence, you answer clearly, without ever needing to explain a thing.